We have big news. We have exciting news for you. Tell them what it is, Serena.
We are super excited to announce that we are starting our first membership this January 2024.
Yay! Membership.
So we're excited to let you know that we will be hosting a monthly membership where when you join, you will be
with us live in a Zoom room once a month for a workshop like we just hosted. It's going to be a workshop like that, one topic each month, a different topic. You might even help us come up with the following month's topic from inside our membership. Super excited to meet you. It was so fun meeting a few of you in our inaugural workshop. So we're really looking forward to that.
And when you are a member, you will also be receiving a monthly newsletter where I'm going to be a little more intimate and I'll be sharing the things that are working and the things that aren't working for me.
Yeah, like taking a tool that you've learned from the podcast and how you're implementing it and how well that worked, or maybe if it didn't work. And then Amma can put in my 2 bits worth. We'll see how that goes. But a membership newsletter and a membership live Zoom room workshop starting in January 2024. Can sign up through our Patreon link in the show notes. Yeah.
Yes, everything will be in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you there, listeners.
We can't wait. Yay!
According to statistics, 3 children a day are dying in the US from drowning. And so today we thought for episode number 86, it would be very useful to bring up the topic of water safety. And so in today's episode, we will get the importance of water safety, the reality of how dangerous water can be, and specific safety information to help us keep our littles as safe as we can. So thanks for tuning into this week's episode, and we would appreciate if you can share this episode with a loved one, because I believe the more informed we are, the more we can spread this information. I hope that we can go from 3 deaths a day to 0 and bring that number down greatly.
Hey, Mama, welcome to the Nurturing Parent Podcast. Do you want to end the constant battles for bath time? Do you find yourself emotionally exhausted at the end of the day? Do you wake up with big hopes for a smooth day of fun with your little ones, only to face an early morning meltdown because you peeled their banana the wrong way?
Silly you.
Silly you.
Hey, I'm Serena. I'm a mama of 2 little ones, and as a new mama, I constantly questioned myself. I wanted to make sure I was raising respectful kids while also building a strong bond with them. But I discovered that I had to unlearn my ideas that punishment was the way. With Lisa's encouragement, I've been practicing a respectful and gentle parenting approach, which is strengthening our bond as a family.
And hi, I'm Lisa. Amma means grandmother in Icelandic. I am a mama and an Amma. And I have over 40 years of experience in childcare and parent coaching. And I am so excited to share the knowledge I've gained over these years with you.
Together in this podcast, each week we will explore some easy to implement skills you can add to your parenting tool belt to help you create a happy, thriving family.
So it's exciting that it's summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm excited. So much fun, so many outings, pretty exhausting, but filled with fun.
Yeah. For me, I love getting in the water pretty much every day. I go in, I do my exercises, I strengthen up my body. Feels good. So, given that, we want to talk to you, our beautiful listener, about water safety. It is a topic that is not often talked about, but is crucial for you to have some basic information that can keep your children safe. For the swimmers and the non-swimmers. And I want you to know with all seriousness that this information can actually save lives if you put our suggestions today into practice and take them really to heart.
I would agree. And I think this is such an important episode for us to have. And it's kind of like one of those where I was like, water safety. Like, who really wants to listen to that? But
Mm-hmm.
you do not ever, ever, ever want to regret what could happen to your kid if you leave them alone for a few minutes or even seconds. And it's just very scary. And I even experienced it. And we all think that it could never happen to us or to our kids. And it so
Mm-hmm.
can.
It's such a difficult topic because exactly what you're saying, we don't want to think that it'll ever happen to us, or we assume that it won't. Oh, my kids are fine. Well, we're going to be fine. I personally know of, although I didn't know her, but she was a friend of my mom's, and she had a toddler in a bath. You hear about children drowning in bathtubs, but then you think, really? And this mama lost her daughter. She was in the other room, just in the other room, and maybe just for a couple of minutes or whatever. I don't know the whole details of the story, but that little girl drowned in the bathtub. And it's a heavy topic, you guys, but it needs to be talked about. There are a few heavy topics that we need to talk about because with more information, we can make better choices, right? Tell us what happened for you this weekend, Serena.
I was giving my niece and my daughter a bath, and my youngest, who is one, she does not like to bathe with them because I guess too much for her. And but she is curious. She loves playing with water. So of course she's leaning over the bathtub, touching the water, splashing around. And I turned for literally 1 to 2 seconds to grab the towel that was hanging on the vanity. And when I looked over, my youngest, the 1 year old who was splashing around, she fell over and she fell into the bathtub head forward. So she was trying to hold herself up with her hand. And she was holding herself up, but her head was underneath the water and she couldn't get up or get out. And my daughter's 3 and her cousin's 4, and they didn't realize or didn't think to say anything. And it happened so fast. And it's scary to
Mm-hmm.
think that my daughter is trying to breathe for air and cannot get air, because that's a scary feeling. I remember almost drowning once playing with my friend and almost drowning in the wave pool at Splish Splash because people are like pulling on you and it gets full, and it's a very scary feeling. And my daughter got scared. I felt bad thinking of what she just experienced because that's traumatizing and it's very scary. And if I would have stepped out the room to grab the towel, it could have been a lot worse, a lot worse. And it's
Mm.
scary to even think about that. And it's scary to think that a mother can lose her child in the being in the same house
Mm-hmm.
with your child and she drowns in the bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I would never want to regret ever, ever, ever. So
Mm.
I think this topic is so serious, and it's vital to get this information so that we can save lives, especially
Mm-hmm.
our kids' lives.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that very recent experience that you had. It really shows just how quickly it can happen. And I don't know if you remember in that moment, if you heard her fall,
No, I
tip
didn't. I
over,
did not hear
right?
anything.
Because she was already leaning down, playing with the water, and you're
And
right
she does
there.
this all the time. This is always our
Yeah,
thing. She's always splashing around while her cousin and her sister are
perfect.
in the
And
bathtub. It
that's
always
perfect.
happens.
That's her enjoying her water play in a way that feels safe for her.
Mm-hmm.
And so you were right there and you didn't hear that. And that's normal. She slipped over. Her face is now under the water. There's two other toddlers, 3 and 4 year old, just turned 3 year old, 4 year old in the bath. And they're not responding to this baby's face being under the water. And I want to say right now, parents, that it is never an older sibling's responsibility to keep their younger sibling safe or to keep each other safe. That is way, way too much pressure to put on any child, right? That's our job. Thank goodness you didn't leave the room. So right there, you turned around to get a towel that was nearby, not within arm's reach maybe, but nearby. So number one, bring everything you need into the bathroom when you're having the bath. Have it within arm's reach. You know, if you've forgotten the towel out in the other room, or you forgot you bought some new shampoo, you've got to go get it out of the kitchen, the bag that hasn't been unpacked yet. You know, life is chaotic when you have little ones. Take that toddler with you. If there's two big kids in the bath, one trick you can do if you have to leave the room for 30 seconds is you can say, I need you to keep talking to me while I go get the shampoo. So we're going to sing a song right now, or we're going to have a conversation right now. Mama's going to get the shampoo. Here she goes. Now you sing with me, and you get them interacting with you so that you can hear those two voices that are still in the bathtub while you take the tiny one with you. Right? So you know that all three of those are safe because you can hear the voices. You've got the little one. Better is to have everything with you. And it doesn't always work out that way.
That's hard.
I don't want to freak you out. And I want to remind you that we need to do everything we can to stay safe.
I kind of want to freak out moms because I'm kind of one of those parents that is very like laid back, and if they fall, they're fine, and I'm not worried about it. I'm that parent that's like, that's not gonna happen to my kid. So I need that scare sometimes.
Okay.
I need,
okay.
yeah, I need, and when that happened, I felt very guilty. I felt very guilty because I imagined if
it's a little bit traumatizing for you. Because we can imagine. And it's the unimaginable, right? Did you want to say anything else?
Yeah, so when I was thinking about it and just thinking about it, what if I went to the other room? What if like a minute would have went by? And so I was up on my phone looking at numbers and thinking, if this happened to me, like I'm a nurturing mom, I'm there. I'm always like, don't leave the kid alone in the bathtub, don't leave them by water. Like I'm on that. And to think not all parents are like us, nurturing parents who are here, who are aware. And so it made me go into Google and look up the statistics about water safety and kids drowning, and to know 3 children a day actually die from drowning.
In the US.
In the US, 3 a day. Wow. 3 kids every single day. I mean, the statistic is for a year, but to hear that number, 932, it makes you lose the feeling of that that's an actual child. So to see 3 kids dying a day from this, it's so scary.
It is important to bear in mind that little ones can drown in as little as 2 inches of water. So we're talking about the bathtub. I want you to think about the toilet or the sink. If you leave, some hand washing in your sink in the bathroom or in the laundry room, in a kiddie's pool out in the backyard, of course, hot tubs, they're deep, shallow edges of larger bodies of water. So along a beach, along a shoreline, 2 inches of water is all that it takes sometimes. So once, don't leave water in the house. Don't leave your laundry in the sink where in a room that a child can get into. I want to reference episode number 61, which is about setting up our little ones for success. And it's a lot about child proofing and baby proofing. And so there's a whole section in that episode about bathroom safety and safety around the water areas in the house. So don't leave the dishes soaking in the water. And you might think that your child can't climb up that high. You might think that they might not be able to open that bathroom door. So listen to episode 61 and get that kind of information. And that's for water around the house. And another really good um, practice is to empty the bathtub right after the bath, to keep that bathroom door closed, all those things, but also to empty any buckets if you're washing the floor, if you're
Yeah.
mopping up anything, if you're washing the windows, if you're washing the car, empty those buckets. Empty the kiddie pool, right?
Yeah.
All those things. Don't leave water around that a child can access. I read something when I was looking this up too in preparation for today, that one little guy drowned in the family pool in the backyard. You want to make sure that a pool in the backyard or any water in the backyard, a pond or anything, is fenced. This mama thinks that her child got out through an unlocked pet door.
Mm.
So that mama had the doors closed and everything. So we just have to be extremely safe and careful. So that's water around the house. And it's not to overly alarm you or have you be an overly anxious parent. And I do want to say that next week we're going to do an episode that we're calling Don't Rush to Fix It. So it's about not being that helicopter parent, not being that overly anxious parent. And this episode, like Serena said, maybe some of you do need a wake up call. Maybe some of you do need to be a little shocked and get on the page with this one. And really, it's more for me, it's more about arming you with the information to keep your little ones safe while enjoying the many, 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 many benefits of water play, whether it's in a basin that they're just playing with the water, in a kiddie pool in the backyard, or down at the beach.
Yeah, because our kids love the water.
And it's so good for them. It's so good for sensory exploration. It's so calming.
So calming.
So if you've got a little one having a meltdown, sometimes the best thing you can do is either get them into a bath if you've got the time to do that, or get them a basin of water to play with beside you. Get a basin of water at the kitchen sink so that they can be up there on those safe child chairs that they can climb up and be safe on beside you while you're making supper. Just let them, quote unquote, do their dishes. So, being that it's summer here, let's talk about being at the beach with our little ones. The first thing I'm going to say might not be all that happy for some of you to hear. I do not want you to depend on float toys to keep your children safe. We're talking about inflatable float rings, the plastic kind that you blow up, inflatable rafts, water wings. Let's talk about water wings for half a minute. They are not a life-saving device. Proper life-saving devices are called PFD, personal flotation devices. Water wings cannot be relied on to keep your child safe and afloat. And also there are cute, what people call, or what are marketed as, life vests. None of those things will keep your child safe, you need to be within arm's reach, an arm's length. When your child has water wings, you need to be within arm's length. The reason for that is any of those inflatable devices can lose air. I want you to know that drowning does not look like what we are led to believe drowning looks like. So
The
in
flailing
Hollywood,
arms. Help!
exactly,
Help! I'm
exactly.
drowning! Help!
Yeah, yeah, the flailing arms, even a hand reaching up,
Mhm.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like there's all these sort of Hollywood ideas. Drowning is a very silent thing that happens. Most of the time, a drowning victim is silent and still. There are reasons why that happens. The body kind of goes into this shutdown mode. The brain kind of shuts everything down and goes into self-preservation, not knowing that it's actually drowning. They're just even within plain sight, unless you know what to look for, it can be very hard to determine. And I really encourage you to do a bit of research for yourself. But most importantly, you need to be within arm's length. This is one area where hovering around your child is not a bad thing. In a playground, going for walks, letting your children go out and play in the backyard, running around. When I was a kid, we ran for hours and hours and hours out of our parents' sight all day long. And I'm an advocate for getting that happening again. But at the water, we need to stay within reach. Now, there always needs to be an adult's eyes on the child or the children. If you have a number of children at the beach that you are responsible for, I want you to do head counts constantly. I learned to do that as a daycare teacher. If we were inside or outside, and especially if we went on an outing, constant head counts. So when you're at the beach and you've got 5 children in your care, I'm hoping they're not all toddlers, but you want to be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how I spend my time at the beach when I go with multiple children. I head count the whole time. It sounds a little neurotic and it helps me feel like I'm keeping people safe.
Mhm.
And I am. If you're there with another adult, your partner, your husband, whomever, a girlfriend, an auntie, and you need to go to the bathroom or you're going to go change into your bathing suit or whatever's going to happen, and you're going to leave your post of looking after all those children, you need to make sure that other adult is now in charge of keeping their eyes on the children. So for my daughter and her husband, when the kids were little, they had their code words for each other were tag, you're it. And the other parent, when they got the message that they were now on duty, their response was tag, I'm it. I've heard other parents say, okay, you're watching. And the other parent looks them in the eye and says, okay, I'm watching, and takes over the watch. You cannot assume that when you say, hubby, I'm just going to run up and use the washroom, I'll be right back, you got the kids and he's on his phone or whatever he's doing. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
I got it.
Yep.
No, you need to make sure that whoever those children are now being left with is on the ball.
Yes.
And
Okay.
speaking of phones, the best place for your phones at the beach is away in your beach bag.
Yeah,
If
who
you
wants
want
their
to,
phone out on the beach?
yeah, if you want to use it for a camera, which I do, put it in airplane mode so that you're not tempted to scroll.
Mm-hmm.
Scrolling is addictive. You need your eyes on your children when you're at the beach. You need to be present. Another really good safety tip is to get your children in swimming lessons early.
Yes.
Babies can learn how to swim. 6-month-old babies
Yes.
can learn how to swim. Young toddlers can learn how to swim. If you're a decent swimmer, you can teach your child how to swim by being in the water with them, not ever by tossing them in and making them swim. That's just traumatizing. I've heard way too many people tell me that's how
Oh
they,
my gosh,
yeah,
no.
yeah. It's kind of old school and it's never a good idea. All right. Anything else on this less than cheerful topic?
Um, I don't have anything else, but I do want to thank you for bringing this up and wanting to make this episode because it is kind of like for me, I was like, water safety, it's kind of boring, but it is so important and it's so scary. And I promise you, that night I was just up scared, thinking about all the statistics, thinking about all the mothers that have lost their babies, thinking about all the babies that lost their whole lives that they had ahead of them. And it was
Yeah.
very scary. And I just kept thinking if I would have been gone a little longer and the amount of regret that I would have to live with would be
Mm,
unbearable. And I
mm.
don't want that for any other mom. And this is not the place to not be a helicopter mom. When you're by the water, you're in arm's reach from your kid.
Yeah.
Thank
If you're going to be on a dock where there are boats or on a boat, for sure, you want proper fitting Coast Guard approved flotation devices. You want to wear one so that you're modeling for your child and you want one on them. Some of our docks have life personal flotation devices at the end of the dock, and you can borrow them while you're down on the dock looking at the fish off the side of the dock and things like that. And I also want to say modeling that drinking alcohol and playing in the water or near the water don't go that well together. So if you can model not doing that, that's also really good because your children, your little ones, are going to grow up to be teenagers one day.
yes.
Anyway, it's an intense topic, but we hope that there's a bit there for you to just be a little more aware of. And we want you to stay safe. And most importantly, we want you to have so much fun in the water this summer. We love you. Bye.
To wrap up, I'm just going to share my gems with you for this week's episode. Number 1 is bring everything you need into the bathroom when it's bath time. If you do need to step out, take your little with you. Number 2 is always be in arm's reach. Number 3 is if you're at the beach or maybe at a busy pool, use head counts and keep track of those kids if you're with multiples. Number 4 is do not depend on floaties or what you might think is a life vest. Remember, always be in arm's reach. And number 5 is if you do have to step away when you are watching the kids in the water, make sure that another adult is watching. Like tag your it and wait till you get a response like tag it, but never assume. And in summary, I'd like to say that around water, it's always better to be safe than sorry. Water can be very dangerous. It really can take a kid's life. And I'd love to watch that statistic drop for something that can be prevented as long as we're all informed. So like I said, please share this with somebody that you love. And thank you so much for listening to today's episode.